Welcome. I'm Kelly from freebiefindingmom.com. Thank you for joining me for another session of Money Talk. Go ahead and invite in our Facebook friends here. Hi, this is Kelly from freebiefindingmom.com for another session of Money Talk. And so without further ado, I want to go ahead and get started with some of the questions that that have been raised on the Freebie Finding Mom Facebook page over this past week. So the first question pertains to emergency funds. So basically what an emergency fund, it's just that you put funds away for in case of emergency. There's different people who have different thought processes about the amount that you should put away for an emergency fund. Oh, I should say this. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Facebook, please go ahead and comment where you're from. Give me a hi, if you will. That would be great. I would appreciate it. And as always, please leave any questions you have about money, finances, saving money, money management, anything related to money. Hi, Wendy. Thanks for joining. Please leave any questions you have in the comments. I will be happy to get to those after we address a few of these questions here first. So emergency fund, like I was saying, different people have different opinions on the amount that you should save for an emergency fund. The general consensus is that you need to save at least $1,000 for an emergency fund. Oh, Youngstown, Ohio. Oh, I'm from Ohio. I live in Maryland now, but I know Youngstown well. I actually grew up in a really small town, kind of central Ohio, south or central west side of Ohio. But I spent a good bit of time in Cincinnati. So welcome, Wendy. And I miss it actually a lot, but I like Maryland, but I miss Ohio quite a bit. Having said that, so an emergency fund, at least a minimum of $1,000 they recommend. What I say is, yeah, that's a good starting point, but to be honest with you, it really depends on your spending and your family. So I would be more inclined to say bare minimum, save $1,000, but really realistically, you need to save at least like a good month's worth of supporting your family, if that's possible. Now, maybe you're trying to get out of debt and that's just not conceivable at this time, which is fine, but at the bare minimum, $1,000. So now that we kind of chatted what an emergency fund is, and it's like I said, it's things that pop up that you don't anticipate, like your washer or dryer goes out or something like that, or a medical expense you weren't expecting. Okay, so Kathy asked the question this past week, should I invest my emergency fund? Now, Kathy, you definitely should not invest your emergency fund because you need those funds to stay liquid. And basically that means that you need to be able to access them very quickly in case of an emergency. So you're going to want to put them in, I would say a money market account is probably going to earn you the best. Although it's probably not going to be anything spectacular, but I would say a money market account would likely earn you more than like a savings account or just a basic checking account. So I'd be more inclined to recommend a money market. So contact your bank, or credit unions can have sometimes good rates on things like that. So I would look into a money market and keep that emergency fund liquid. Do not invest it in anything like, especially like mutual funds or stocks or bonds, anything like that, because that is a longer threshold. Whenever you invest thing like in the market, you're planning on keeping it in there for minimum, I would say 5 years, ideally even longer than that. So Kathy, I would not invest your emergency fund because you need to access those funds quickly in case of an emergency. Next question we had was from Vanessa. And basically Vanessa was saying she's contemplating filing bankruptcy because she's hoping that it would eliminate her student loans. But you guys on my Facebook page here were so helpful in basically letting her know that unfortunately, Vanessa, going ahead and filing for bankruptcy is not going to eliminate your student loans. Those are some of the special kind of loans that doesn't really matter if you file bankruptcy, you're still going to have to be on the hook for them. So, and Michaela mentioned that. Michaela said bankruptcy does not take care of student loans. Exactly right. Susie mentioned I like this too. Susie mentioned get professional debt consolidation advice. I think that's wise. I think, Vanessa, it sounds like you might have different kinds of debt. So largely, I think you said you had a lot of student loans, but if you have a variety of different kinds of debt, it probably would behoove you to consolidate that and try to get a lower rate than what you're currently paying. And then Jackie mentioned look into money management because before you go to bankruptcy, and that's true because they can sometimes help you avoid bankruptcy. Bankruptcy should really be the final decision, like the final, like you have no other options, because quite honestly, bankruptcy is going to stay, it's going to hurt your credit immensely. It's going to stay on your credit report for probably 10 years. And it's going to be tough to pull that credit score back up. So I would say, like you made a great point, Jackie, look into some sort of a money manager that can help you look at your options before you decide to go the route of bankruptcy. So I hope that's helpful, Vanessa. For Dawn mentioned, should I pay off debts before I start investing? Absolutely. Investing in my mind is kind of the next phase. Like you've got all your debts. I'm assuming your mortgage is different. I mean, that's a different category, I think, of debt versus like student loans or credit cards or anything like that. So if you still have that kind of debt, I would not advise investing in really anything at this point. Unless it's like, the exception I will say is if it's a retirement account and say your employer is matching your contribution, that's different, because that in my mind is free money, because your employer is giving you that money just for you to save for your retirement. That's the only kind of investing I would probably recommend if you have debt. So Dawn, I would say absolutely pay off your debts first before you even consider investing at this point. And that will be next phase. After you get your debts paid off, then you can worry about building up your emergency fund even more and building wealth, which basically means a lot of times investing, whether it be in mutual funds or stocks or something like that. Susie brought up a good point. This is a good point, Susie. Thank you. Compare your interest rates. Usually your debt, this is true, your debt interest is higher than your debt interest is usually higher than what you would make on your investments. So what she's basically saying is what you're paying, your interest rate on your credit card, for instance, is probably significantly higher than you would earn, even honestly, investing in mutual funds or stocks. Not always, there are exceptions, but in general, the interest rate is going to be so much higher that it doesn't make sense for you to invest it before you would pay down that debt. Good point. Yep, Susie, unless it's like a mortgage where the interest rate is usually lower. That debt is more, I guess if there is such a thing, is more acceptable. I would say a mortgage is probably one of the more acceptable debts to have. Next question was from Heidi. As always, when you're joining in, like I say, please let me know where you're viewing from, and any money questions you have, we will get to those. Next question came from Heidi. Heidi was saying, and this is unfortunate, Heidi, if you're watching, I'm so sorry you're in this situation. She was saying that her ex-husband was assigned certain debts in their divorce, and he won't pay them. And that is unfortunately ruining her credit. That is so tough. Heidi, you guys were great in chiming in with some really helpful advice. Like Jackie mentioned, try to pay off that debt, even though it's his liability, but your name is attached to it. So if you can financially try to pay that debt off. She also mentioned you could file for bankruptcy if you had to, or you could just go back to court, which is of course not a fun option for anybody. Go to court and have him in contempt to basically kind of force him to have to pay it. Ashley mentioned tell the creditors, and then you may have to take him back to court, which is another option as well. If you could get the creditors on your side, Heidi, that would be beneficial. But I don't know, they may just say your name's on it, on the debt, so you have to pay for it as well. Julie actually was in a similar situation, I guess, when it came to, I believe she had a car, and she was saying, a car. She said you can only try and enforce it in court, but if your name is on it, you're really liable. So not great news, Heidi. I mean, the options, like I said, is maybe take him back to court. You can pay it, and depending on how much it is, and if you have the finances for it, or try to talk to the creditors and let them know that it's not, even though your name is on the debt, it's really the judgment was made against him. So see if there's any way that they can maybe clarify that so that you aren't on the hook and it doesn't impact your credit score, unfortunately. So sorry that is your situation, Heidi. That is unfortunate for sure. The last question I want to get to is from Melody. Melody was saying she's looking for ways to save an extra $100 to $200 every month. And she was just seeing if anybody had any suggestions on what she could do. She has a couple of kids, and I believe she was pregnant with, I want to say twins. I read it late last night, but I think it was twins, Melody. And you guys offered great advice. Veronica was saying, Veronica, by the way, and it's a total aside, I love that name. When I was younger, I always thought if I could ever change my name, I always wanted to be Veronica, but whatever, has nothing to do with answering Melody's question. Just thought it was interesting. Love your name. But anyway, so Veronica was saying, eliminate cleaning supplies and replace it with Norwax cloth and mop and just use water. Great suggestions. You know what? I have never used Norwex cloth and mops, but I've heard of other people using them and really liking them a lot. So, and it's a great way to just, get rid of the harmful chemicals and fragrances that are in our home and a lot of home cleaners. So not only, Melody, is it going to be smart for you to use kind of just water or vinegar to clean, to be totally honest with you, it's not only going to save you money, but it's also just better for your health. And if you were able to catch my Young Living, I did an unboxing video last night where I showed you kind of a couple of the new products that I got and shared with you one of the ones that I am obsessed with. In there I share kind of, some of my, I guess, passion for finding things that are all natural and living kind of just chemical free as much as possible without going crazy about it. But like using more natural chemical free cleaners is really a simple way to reduce a lot of the toxins in our house. So good suggestion, Veronica. And you can use essential oils on a lot of these cleaners. If you still miss kind of that aroma of clean, you can diffuse essential oils in the air, or you can actually just add a few drops to whatever your homemade cleaner is. And a lot of times water and vinegar is going to do about as well as a lot of these expensive household cleaners that you're going to buy that are loaded with chemicals in the store. So it'll be a money saving for you to change out your chemical or to change out your cleaners, Melody, and it would probably just be healthier for your family too. And then Veronica also mentioned that this is good too. It's just watch what you're buying at the grocery, including drinks and packaged processed foods. It's so easy for us, and I'm guilty of it too, like to buy kind of impulse buys, like, oh, that'll come in handy. Let's get the fruit snacks, or something like that, or the chips or whatever. And if those add up, and drinks too, especially, they are so overpriced beverages. Like at the end of the day, I mean, the kids don't need to be drinking Gatorade all the time. I mean, water is sufficient. And that stuff racks up. So just be cognizant, Melody, of what you're spending at the grocery store. I mean, sometimes just kind of taking a little bit of a deep dive at exactly what you're buying and see if there's some things on there that you could do without. That could be the difference maker. If you're only looking to save an extra $100 to $200, if that would really be impactful for you and your family, I think it'll be easier to achieve than what you may even realize. Brittany mentioned cloth diapers and make your own laundry soap. Brittany, I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to do a video on homemade laundry detergent because I don't think people realize how much you can save using homemade laundry detergent and just getting rid of some of the harmful chemicals, but also saving money while you do it. And so I'm going to do a future video on that. I'm going to put that down on my to-do list. So thank you, Brittany, for recommending that actually as a way to save money, but also, like I say, just it's healthier for your family too. And Emily said, go to Aldi and do cash budgeting. Cash budgeting, recommend it for sure. If that's something that you feel, for some people, they like the physical aspect of being able to carry around cash. And that, if that works for you, then great. Other people say, no, I'm fine using a debit card. The good thing with cash is when you run out, you truly are you're not spending anymore. So if you need if you need that physical aspect to be able to know, okay, I am done spending money, then the cash budgeting could be good for you. I mean, if you've probably have heard about the envelope method, which basically what the envelope method is it's essentially just doling out how much money you have and putting it in certain allotted envelopes for certain expenses. So like for, rent or groceries or, fund money for the family or eating out or whatever, you have a specific envelope for each of those. And you will put the amount of money, cash, that you are designated for each item. And when that is gone, you are done. So that's an option too. It will definitely keep you from overspending, I would think. So good suggestion, Emily. And Aldi, every time I see Aldi, or am I even saying it right? Aldi. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but I have to tell you, I think of my grandparents because they would shop Aldi before it was even like the most popular thing now. It seems like a lot of frugal bloggers and everybody loves Aldi. And I heard about it when I was really young because I remember when there was one that I moved close to where my grandparents lived in Ohio, and they loved it and saved so much money, going there, whatever. So every time somebody recommends that, I'm like, yes, I know that so well. I know that store, and I know that you can get good deals there. And I've heard you can get we don't unfortunately have one really close to us. It's kind of a haul. I've looked, but you can get good. I've heard like good organic prices on organic, like fruits and vegetables and things like that. And even some of their meats at Aldi can be good. If you will, leave in the comments if you shop at an Aldi or an Aldi. Aldi, sorry. If you shop at one of those stores, leave in the comments what you like to buy there. Like what do you really find the best deals on? I would love to know actually. And I think it would be beneficial for other people because a few people had mentioned shopping there as a way to save money. Ashley and Rachel both mentioned it as well. And Ashley also said she bought diapers and wipes and formula at Sam's because they were half the price at Sam's Club because they were half the price. So that's another option for you, Melody. If you're looking, again, just to save a couple $100 a month. If you are not a member of a wholesale club, look into that. I do actually, this is a great segue into my new video on YouTube. I did a video, I got it up on YouTube, I think it was Tuesday morning early afternoon. I put it up and it's about saving, whether or not warehouse clubs actually save you money. And it's not an easy yes or no. To be honest with you, you have to really look and see what kind of shopper you are, what kind of items you buy, and how much you spend to see if it makes sense for you to join a warehouse club. So Melody, I would advise you to watch that video. In fact, I'll put a link for that warehouse club video that I just put up on YouTube. I'll put that link in the comments here when I'm done taping. So you can reference that if that's helpful. And in there, I asked 3 questions, and that will help you determine whether or not joining a warehouse club like a Costco or a Sam's Club or a BJ's Wholesale Club is going to make sense for you or in your family. So I will put a link to that video down below. I will also, I'm excited because I taped a video this past weekend. I feel I taped 2, but one of them I'll tell you about. It's kind of more of a fun video. One of the videos I taped, my son was in it again, and he does tend to like to be on camera until he gets, and then he's done, and then he's kind of bored with it. But like for about a good solid 20 minutes, he'll tape with me and then be happy. But we taped this past Sunday. We did a little welcome video for our Oily Friends Facebook group. So if you're not a member, I will go ahead and I'll put a link to the Facebook group down below as well when I'm done taping. And the Oily Friends Facebook group, it's really just a Facebook group that we created for people that have any interest in essential oils and kind of a chemical-free, all-natural lifestyle, let's say like whether it be in cleaners or skincare or whatnot, or in your laundry detergents. So if you want to join that Facebook group, you're more than welcome to. It's called Oily Friends. I'll put a link to that down below. But my son and I just taped that video, kind of the welcome video for that group last weekend, and that was fun. And then I also taped another video on Sunday that is going to go up this next week. And that video is about how much money you can save using a homemade moisturizer, like a homemade face moisturizer, if you make it yourself versus buying one in the store or, at a drugstore or even in the mall or those expensive makeup stores. So I look forward to that. I will definitely be sharing that here on the Facebook page. And of course, you'll see it on YouTube too. That will be up this next week about how much money you can save. I think you'll be surprised. So those are the questions that I went through this week. And thank you guys. As always, your feedback is so great for these questions. I really appreciate it because I think they really benefit people. And so just thank you. Thank you for contributing your thoughts and insights on people's questions. And as always, if you have any money questions, always you feel free to comment on this video. I always check it pretty much at least every day to make sure that I'm not missing anybody's comments or thoughts. Or you can always, sometimes people feel more comfortable just direct messaging me, and that's fine too. Either one, whatever works for you. Don't forget to download today's Kroger freebie if you have a Kroger or Kroger affiliate store near you. And I told you about the warehouse video that is coming up that did come up this past week. So check out that. I'll put the link down below. I mentioned the Oily Friends Facebook group. And then, next week, my saving money using a homemade face moisturizer should be up. I hope you were able to catch the other Facebook Live I did last night where we chatted about, like I said, my unboxing of my latest Young Living products. As always, if you have any questions about that, I've been getting a good bit of feedback and questions about Young Living and essential oils. You're always welcome to either leave questions or comments on the videos themselves. You can always message me directly, or like I said, I think the best place to go is to join my Facebook group. And there is, we're building just a collaborative community of people who have either used essential oils or honestly just want to learn how to use essential oils. So join that group if you're interested in that. With that said, hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have something fun planned. I think we're going to a local amusement park tomorrow, so that should be fun. And the weather doesn't look too crazy hot, so I'm excited. Anyways, thank you so much for taking some time to watch, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.